All right, good afternoon. Appreciate you guys joining me here on this webinar. My name is Deaton Smith. I'm a certified financial planner, and I'm the president of Thayer Financial, a fee-only registered investment advisor located here in Hickory, North Carolina. We're going to be discussing the CARES Act. It's the massive legislation that was just passed by Congress and President Trump on Friday of last week. And this webinar is really going to be focused on the businesses and business owners and the things in the act that are pertaining directly to you. I do have a webinar recorded for individuals, and some of you guys may apply, that information may pertain to you as well, but this is definitely just geared for the businesses and business owners out there, all right? So the first thing we're going to be discussing is the Paycheck Protection Program. All right, this is what you guys may have heard about in the news here. It's the forgivable loan program that's offered through the Small Business Administration. And so some of the things, little details on this is that if you want to apply for this, you have to do it by June 30th of 2020. The maximum term, length of this loan is going to be 10 years, and the maximum interest rate that is going to be charged on this is 4%. And so for small businesses, that is a phenomenal interest rate that is pretty impossible to get. Pretty impossible to get. So you may want to really take a look at this. All right. As far as the payments, you're not going to have to make a payment on this for 6 to 12 months. That is wish there was more clarity, but that's just the way that the law is written, is 6 to 12 months. I'm sure we'll get some better fidelity on that as everything continues to develop. All right, so just a little bit more about this. So the maximum amount of the loan is going to be the lesser of $10 million, or 2.5 times the average monthly payroll cost for your business over the previous year. And so this will also exclude any employees that you've got that are making over $100,000 of income. All right. And so this loan can be used to pay down payroll costs, your group health insurance premiums, the rent, mortgage interest, and the utilities you've got for your business. All right. And so the benefits of this Paycheck Protection Program is that all or a portion of this loan may be forgiven for the part that is actually spent in the first 8 weeks after receiving the loan. And so that's the key right there, is that it's only the part that's going to be paid or that's used in the first 8 weeks of receiving it to pay off these areas: payroll, rent, electricity, gas, water, transportation, telephone, and internet expenses, which began before February 15th. So if you get this, you can't just go ahead and just start up a bunch of new services. That part is not going to be forgiven of the loan. And then you can also pay off the group health insurance premiums as well. Some of the things that, but to get all this kind of great benefits, the entire CARES Act is really about keeping people employed and making sure that they are still working during this time of crisis. And so to be able to qualify for this, you are going to have to keep the same number of employees or equivalents, the hiring, firing issues aside, but those numbers have to be the equivalent or the same from February 15th to June 30th of 2020. All right. And so that number needs to look the same as it did from January 1st through February 15th. And so if you've already jumped the gun, you've laid people off, you've furloughed them, you've shut things down, you have the ability right now to bring them back, get them back to working, and you can qualify for this Paycheck Protection Program and the loan forgiveness, okay? But it's something that you do need to act on very quickly here. Also, part of the part of this is that employee compensation can't be cut more than 25% compared to the previous year's quarter, okay? And the last part of this is that the debt that is forgiven because of you're meeting these stipulations is going to be tax-free. As you may know, most forgiven loans, IRS treats it as taxable income. That's not going to be the case for this forgiven debt. So there are a lot of benefits to this if you are a business continuing to work during this troubled time, okay? So make sure that you are reaching out to who you need to make sure you're taking advantage of this program if you need it. All right. So the next is going to be the employee retention credit. So this credit is going to apply. There's two ways you can qualify for this, right? Is one, your business is fully or partially suspended because of the government, right? So that means if you're a gym and you had to close your doors for the next 2 months, or you're a barbershop, or any type of business that has basically had the government come down and shut them down fully or partially, you're going to qualify for this. Or the other is if your revenue in 2020 is dropping below 50% of the same quarter in 2019, right? So second quarter 2019 or second quarter of 2020 has to be less than 50% of the revenue of the second quarter in 2019. And so if you qualify for that, let me bump up ahead here. What is going to end up happening is that you will receive a credit worth 50% of the wages paid to your employees, up to $10,000 per employee. All right. And so that's going to continue to go on until your revenue gets up to at least 80% of the previous year's quarter, right? So, or the end of 2020, whichever comes sooner, right? So basically, you've got the ability for 3 quarters to take advantage of this if your revenue is not back up to where it was, or back up to at least 80% of the previous year's calendar year's quarter. And so, that's definitely something that you need to take into consideration when you're doing your business planning and determination of what you're going to be doing during this kind of very unique situation, or unique situation in our economy. And so some of the other things and how it actually gets applied. So there's, basically the government with this law came out and said, hey, 100 employees is going to be the cutoff threshold to determine which way it's going to go. All right. So if you are a business with fewer than 100 employees, all wages are going to be eligible for this. All right. This employee retention credit. However, if you've got more than 100 employees, only the employees that are not actually working because of the government shutdown, or the revenue has dropped, is going to basically is going to apply for this this employee retention credit right there, right? So the ones that are working is not going to, but it's going to be the folks that you're continuing to maintain and pay on your payroll, but aren't actually working. Those are the folks that are going to be able to qualify, for this employee retention credit. All right. The other part is tax deferral of payroll taxes. So you're not going to get out of paying the 2020 payroll taxes. However, for cash flow purposes and for your business, if you need to, you've got the ability to defer the 2020 payroll taxes, and you can pay 50% of it by the end of 2021, and the remaining 50% by the end of 2022. All right. And so, your business, how, if you need the cash, but if you do need a little bit more flexibility, they are offering this ability to defer out those payroll taxes. The same actually applies to self-employed individuals. All right, so your self-employment tax, half of it is really looked at as a employer contribution part of it. So you can actually, defer out that portion of your payroll taxes, okay, of the self-employment taxes. And then the last part of this that pertains to businesses is the net operating loss rules. So the NOL rule allows you for any loss that you took in 2018, 2019, or 2020 to be carried back for 5 years now. And previously it was just 2 years. So this is allowing a lot more flexibility for you to capture and bring forward some of those losses to get some more of an amended return, money from an amended return. Also, they are allowing this to offset 100% of taxable income, and that's a big change up from the 80%. All right, and so I know this was just kind of very high level details. Hopefully I provided some value. If you want some more information, schedule an initial consultation with me. Here's my contact information. You can give me a call, email, or you can go to my website, thayrfinancial.com, and schedule a meeting, either initial phone call or a get to know you meeting on there. It works best with your calendars. Hope this, as I said, hope this was informative for you. And if you got questions, please don't hesitate to reach out and give me a call. Thank you.